Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stanley.
Yeah, good afternoon, Michael. Thank you all for joining. Okay, so to today's event. Today's leadership table, we have here with us as the guest speaker, Samirah Bello. I would like you all to join me in giving her a warm welcome. You can unmute yourselves. Unmute yourselves. If you want to clap, you can clap. If you want to say hi, you can say hi. So just use this moment to welcome her and appreciate her for joining.
Welcome, Samirah. Thank you for joining us today. We are glad to have you in our midst today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Okay, so of course the first thing on the list would be for you to introduce yourself to us, most especially for those who haven't gone through your profile. So you just tell us a bit about yourself and generally any information you would like us to know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so introduce myself more likely. I'm Samirah. I'm currently doing my master's in globalization, business and development at the University of Success. I am a entrepreneur. I work in the business space. I'm also into developmental space. I do that by the side through volunteering and other things. Basically, that's just me.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's wonderful. So, let's start with your yearly fellowship experience. Share with us how being a yearly fellow has impacted your life and the whole experience in general. What were your takeaways from that yearly fellowship experience?
So for me, the Young Arrows Fellowship was the first ever fellowship I ever attended or anything I ever applied for.
Okay.
I was part of I was part of the first cohort of Nigeria, and that's cohort 1 in Nigeria when they decided to bring a branch to Nigeria. And we were almost 100 plus in total. And I just finished I was still doing my NYC then. I think I was at the end of my NYC when I went for the fellowship. And one thing I really learned while I was in the fellowship was I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I was under the public policy management track. I gained a lot of connection, and up to now, the networks I made is still very strong as of today. I also was able to get in touch with, I came back home after my NYC through the RSC. I was able to get in touch with the yearly network in Abuja, and I was able to continue my volunteering and everything. Through that platform, I was also able to get my first ever job, professional job after my NYC and the rest. So I would say that the RSC was really impactful, knowledge-wise, network-wise, and career-wise.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad you were able to, continue with the networks you built, and they were very relevant even after your yearly fellowship. And if anyone joined, our previous events, the speaker actually highlighted that as one of the main reasons why, the yearly fellowship was set up so people can network and build, meaningful connections and relationships from that. So, second question, as a As a business development professional, please tell us about some of your achievements.
Okay, some of my achievements. Before I answer that, you mentioned one of your previous fireside chat. Was it Aisha?
Yes, she was with us. Was it last week or 2 weeks? Okay, I think 2 weeks ago. Yes, 2 weeks ago.
We're in the same cohort.
Wow.
And yeah, so she's part of one of the connections I've built over a long time too. So for the question on what I've achieved so far in the business space. So in the business space, for the unique thing is I don't own any business, but I've done a lot of business. So in the business space, I work in the agribusiness space to be precise. I work with Tribe Agric as a commercial business analyst. I started as an intern, and I grew up within the space of, well, I say, 2-3 years to become the business commercial analyst for the company, and I was able to what's it called? So what I did, or what we do, is we work with smaller farmers in Nigeria. We infuse both digital technology and farming technologies into agriculture, and we're able to, on the tribal side, we're able to, within that 2-3 years that I worked with them, we're able to work with over 100,000 farmers. And I was able to work with, that was in the farming side, and then in the commercial angle, I was able to work with over 8,500 farmers what did I use? Generating, or will I say, doing businesses, commercial businesses worth millions of dollars. And I was able to impact the lives of smaller farmers in Nigeria. I was able to create and help in finance, helping business analysts and other things. And then decide as a business person, while I also volunteer, I also do things like I volunteer on the side for helping people who develop their business, maybe on the side, and also women in rural communities.
Oh, that's great. I think we might have to take notes of your cohorts, because it appears it's produced a lot of should I say, young leaders that are actually making impacts. If you and Aisha Buba can come from the same cohort, then that cohort definitely, impacts, and kudos to you guys. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, my cohort is the first to reckon it's true.
Oh, okay. So COVID-19 did affect almost every sector of human development and the world generally, mostly in some sort of negative aspects. I don't know, do you think there were some positive impacts of COVID-19?
For every negative thing, there's always a positive thing. In every war, there's somebody that is gaining. In every casualty, there's someone that is gaining. And sadly, although COVID-19 brought a lot of negatives, but it also brought a lot of positive. It depends on who you ask. Some people lost jobs. Some people got jobs. Some people got demoted or got salary cuts. Some people got promoted. Some people, so it depends. But one thing for the economy in general, worldwide, I would say that one space that COVID-19 really impacted was the online space. People became billionaires overnight. And people that were smart enough were able to move and use the space like mad. So I will give example. We have online marketing, we have online businesses. People that were smart enough that were already in the business space and had goods rather than having to complain about COVID and not selling, they moved to the other online space. And
Yes.
because people were at home, it means that indirectly they were saving money. So rather than you using your money to, let's say, go for party or buy new clothes or things, you had money. So you rather order online. I saw that, for example, my sister's company, in that period, I've never seen her shipped that much goods as she shipped during the COVID-19 period. Like she was just shipping because we're just buying online. So I would say one space that really affected was the what's called online space, and people that had, the business acumen actually used that space very well. We have also the Zoom for the online space. We have the what's it called people that owned. I'll give another example. You had Zoom, you had Skype, you had other people, but Zoom was smart enough to make the use of that platform. And Skype was, I think Skype was developed before Zoom or something, but during the COVID-19 period, Zoom really, what will I use? Really used the opportunity and they boosted their revenue. And that's one thing. Another thing I would say is, apart from the online space, in Nigeria, many things were affected, right? But I also say that indirectly, although people argue about this, but I think the climate was a little bit, will I say, stable.
Yes.
There was no too much CO2 on air, there was no too much emissions, there was no too much all those things. And I think due to that, like the agriculture was a little bit, although it's still, like I said, many people argue with that. But due to that, I would say that agriculture, people were able to farm, right? Although they were not able to sell, but they were able to farm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That's quite insightful. So according to your profile, you currently in of Development Studies, University of Sussex, UK, as a Chevening Scholar. Okay, so tell us how you were able to achieve this and how has the experience been? I'm sure this is something most young people are actually interested in right now. So if you've applied in the past and and you didn't get the opportunity, I guess this is a good time for you to pick your notes and pen and start jotting down a few tips so that in your next application you can be successful. So what do you have to share with us about your experience and how we
are? So my senior experience is another key thing, and I would say that what led to it would be right from my yearly RSC. Like I said before, my RSC was the first ever thing I ever applied for. And the funny thing was, it was Sipati that even encouraged me to apply during my NYC. That was the first time I met him, and he just came to the CDS. I was the CDS president, and he was like, hi guys, there's yearly RSC, we should apply and everything, and he encouraged everybody. That's how I applied. And that application process made me realize that there were opportunities that were free and could be used to, develop one's one's professional and personal career path.
Yes.
And since then, I started building my profile because I knew I wanted to do a master's, and I knew that doing a master's requires certain things. It's either you have a good academic background or you have a good leadership and professional background. And I started building my professional background in order to be able to get more opportunities that I want to be able to build myself personally and professionally. And what got me into Chevening was, like I said, I worked in the agri space for years, and I worked in business space and I worked in development space. And I was able to sell myself well while writing my application and explain why I really wanted to study the course I'm studying and why the universities the university I want to go for. And I guess I sold myself well and they chose me.
Okay, so that's great. By the way, don't tell me CPASI was part of your cohort as well.
No, no,
Okay. The next question, I guess you've spoken about it, but what advice do you have for you who have dreams of becoming Chevening scholars to, just like you? You've spoken about building your professional career, or if it's academic. So how should people, prepare? And I think the application opened, is it? I think the one for 2021, 2022 is open. So do you believe people can start planning now, or should they wait probably and gather some professional experience, maybe try to make more impact before applying? Or how much preparedness do you think someone needs?
I believe everybody here should be RLC, and for you to have RLC, you should have had a sort of professional background already, right? That you're building, and getting a master's is what you want to use to, get to the next level. So what I would say for this platform is 3 things, maybe more. One is know where you want to go next, right? Now, you knowing what you want to do in the next 10, 15 years will determine what you want to study, right? And it will determine what university you want to go for, right? So if you know what you want to do in the next, if you know that goal you're trying to achieve, then you would know what course you want to study. And once you've understood that, the next thing is you write your story down. Everything is about storytelling, and everything is about selling yourself. Everything is about treating it like you pitching for a 1 million brand or a 1 million business, whatever. Do you get? And that's how every application should be looked at. When you're writing, when you're applying, if you're in the business space, where can you hear me?
I can't seem to hear you. I don't know if it's the same with every other person.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. I guess it's my internet. Okay, sorry, go on. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, let me off my video maybe to be clearer, I think. Okay, so as I was trying to say, everything is a business plan. I believe for every application you want to write, it's always you pitching something. And when you're pitching something, it's about you telling a story. It usually has what happened. It usually has this tag, is this situation, task, action, and results, right? So it usually has that follow. Situation, what was the problem? So what action did you take? What was the task and what was the result? And that's the same thing for your Chevening application. When you're writing the application for all the 4 questions, it has to have a storyline that you're trying to say. And like I said, the storyline all boils down to what you want to do in the future. The same thing as a business. What do you want? What's called? What the money that you're pitching for? What do you want to use it for? Right? What sort of people do you want to help? Right? So that's the same thing with the Chevening application. So what I will advise is really, really research in the sense that look for all the links, go to YouTube, go to Google is your best friend. Go to Google, research everything. And for the 4 questions, put your best foot forward, because there are other people, like don't Don't be shy and don't be too proud. Do you get? Don't be shy and don't be too proud. Be in the middle, but try to stand out. For example, I can give an example. In the leadership question, you don't need to have helped 2,000, 3,000 people to be able to say you're a leader. You can just help your colleague. And it be that maybe your colleague was, for example, molested, and you fought it up until the colleague got a justice. That's being a leader, do you get? So it doesn't need to be a huge impact. It just has to be an impact, and it just has to be what result happened. I think that's a major thing that I think people really need to work on, is telling their stories.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. So, what can you say, made you worthy to be the recipients of the 2016 Lagos State Certificate of Honors, and what does these certificates and other, award certificates like that mean to you?
Oh, for that certificate was NYC. It was the NYC, what's it called?
Oh, okay.
What do they call it again? State award. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, was the NYC State Award. And that why that certificate is very good, useful to me or key to me, is that I was very determined to get it. Like, I really worked towards getting it. And I didn't even know that there was any, like I said before, I didn't know that it was right. We just graduated. It's not like in Nigeria, not everybody has the opportunity to know that there are things out there that you can get for free, or the applications you can apply for, right? But one place that everybody knows is that in your NYC, you can do so much and get rewarded for it, right? And that was one thing for my NYC, it's not just about the certificate, but about helping my community, because I knew that while I was in school, I was volunteering for different organizations right for my level 1. So since my level 1, I already started doing my community projects without thinking of any reward or anything attached to it, right? But in NYC, I was like determined to get the certificate to see and push myself if I can do it, right? And I was elected, because it was an election. I was the elected special CDS president. I worked on different projects and the rest, and that was how I got the certificate. Yeah.
Well, that's great. It's quite wonderful and nice that the whole hard work actually paid off.
Yeah, and sometimes, like I said before, sometimes if you want something, do for it. Don't look at. Yes, I know that many times we do many things for for community's sake. But there are two things I always put in my mind, and I think there are two things people should always put in mind. There is something called personal development, professional development, and community development, and the three can be done side by side. While I am so happy that, or I'm so enthusiastic about developing my community, and I'm not gaining any financial gain from it, I should be able to get something that in the next 2 or 3 months, or in the next 1 year, I can get a job out of it, or I can get something out of it. It may not be, they'll say volunteers are not paid. What is the next thing out of it? There's something they say, there's not the program, but in the future run, you get something out of it, right? So whenever you're doing anything, be it community work, be it volunteering, even when you're volunteering an organization, you need to first determine whether what type of organization. It cannot be just anyhow organization. You need to want an organization you want to learn something from. It could be that in the future you want to work in the tech space and you decide to volunteer for a tech organization to learn whatever you want to learn from them, also giving your service for free. Yes, you give your service for free, but you need to gain something out of it. It's not always about monetary gain or personal gain. And I think that should be something that people should be conscious about doing, right? You're doing something,
Yes.
try to get something out of it.
Well, thank you. So that means you can even, try to develop your community, and while you're doing that, you're having some sort of personal development as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's nice. Thank you for the insights. So we all know that being a yearly RSE and Mandela Mandela Washington Fellowship is a great achievement. So how were you able to make it happen, and what were the sacrifices you had to make?
For MWF sacrifice, I didn't make any sacrifice. Like sacrifice, like had to let something go. Is there anybody that wants to let something go? I think let me on my video, maybe by now it's better.
Okay, maybe the network is better. Yeah, you can. Please do.
Maybe. Or it's still cracking all time. Did I sacrifice anything? For the end of the day? I think maybe the reason why I didn't sacrifice anything for MWF was because the organization I work for is the best. I know people that actually sacrifice a lot for MWF. You have to choose between, because MWF takes almost 2 months out of your job. You have to choose between either resigning from their job or going for the conference without pay, or having to go for the conference to learn and come back. For example, if you're running a business and come back and meet that your business is, somebody has done something, and where you were at the time you left is 1 year backward rather than forward. I know people sacrifice a lot for going for conferences, but I think personally I didn't really sacrifice much, maybe because of the environments I worked with and the bosses I had, which were amazing, and they loved personal development and allowed me to go. So I didn't really sacrifice. But for getting the MWF, I really worked towards it. Like I said, everything is about goal, determination. Whatever you want to achieve in life, you need to write it down and say that. Oh, someone say my voice is breaking today.
Okay. Okay.
Is it better now?
Yes, I think the audio is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
If my voice is breaking, still let me know, please.
Okay.
Okay. So where did I stop? Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm always, one thing I always advise people is that be determined for everything you want to do. There's always a determination to it. There's always a end goal. It may not be 20 years from now, but it needs to be the next thing. Most of my friends would always say I'm strategic. And strategy means that I want to do this in the next 5-10 years, and I need to write down what I need to achieve, or what personal gains or what personal development do I need, either for the business I'm working towards or for the organization I'm working for. Something needs to happen. And part of my plan was MWF, right? And I applied. And I guess the reason why I got MWF was I worked, like I said, I worked in the agri space for years, and I've helped thousands of smallholder farmers. I may not be the owner of the company, but I am key person in the company that works towards helping smallholder farmers, right? So there's another thing for business, and I know you're going to ask me this question later, but for business, it's not about you owning a business. It's not always about you owning a business. You can work with a business person and it will be as if you're the one that owns the business, right? And I guess that's how I got my MBA, and I went to University of Iowa on the business school and learned a lot and went back to my company to impact my company. Then shedding happened.
Well,
And
that's great.
second thing again, I forgot to add is about network. You need network for so many things. Most of the time, people say, I don't know, many Nigerians usually say, you need to be rich, as in like you have to have godfathers or rich parents to get things.
Yes.
Usually, what people do not realize is that you need to have network. Many people that have, even the rich, have to have network. It's all about networking. It's knowing the right person to get. You need to know somebody that knows the president. You don't need to know the president directly, but you need to know somebody that knows the president. Is many people get many things done. In fact, in the world, is about knowing people. In the business space, is about recommendations. It's you want to get a job, it's about recommendation. And how do you get that? It's about networking, being strategic to know people. And how do you know people? You go out and meet and go for conferences. Either you pay for yourself or you find a way to get it free, or you do anything but to know people. So I think people should start changing their mindset about it's about the rich in Nigeria getting what they want. It's about the network. You are not rich. Find out to know the rich person. Go for a conference that person is speaking and teach yourself and get what you want. Do you get? So it's all about networking. And I think networking is one key skill that MWF also has that made me also went for MWF.
Wow. That's nice. So there you have it. Network, and network. So Samirah, as a professional businesswoman who has had quite some experience in businesses, how would you advise young entrepreneurs who are dreaming of becoming big in business?
Many things I see that many Nigerian entrepreneurs miss is understanding the business canvas model. If you don't understand your business canvas model, you cannot grow. It's that simple. There's a difference between a business and an entrepreneur. There's difference between a market woman selling tomatoes, right? And a entrepreneur selling packaged tomatoes. Do you get? It's still the same tomatoes, but somebody is getting premium price, right? And it's all about understanding your business space and knowing your business canvas model. And it's also understanding, and within the business canvas model, it's, I'm coming. Let me share my screen so that I explain this very well.
Okay, you have something to present.
Oh, I just want to show you a business canvas model.
Okay.
So that when I'm explaining it, it's easy for people to understand what I'm trying to say. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So, you disabled it. Don't worry. You disabled sharing, so don't worry. I'll just explain it.
Did I? Okay. Let me see.
So in a business canvas model, what makes you stand out is there's always a problem within a sector. And within that sector, there's always a segment that needs to be tapped. You cannot be the same thing with everybody. You cannot enter a business and decide to fight that Dangote immediately, like compete with Dangote. It won't work. You need to first ask yourself, within the Nigerian business space, what markets can you target, right? What innovation can you create within what you're already doing? And within that space, how far can you go within it? What business space will I give as an example to explain what I'm trying to say? Let's see. What business will I use? Give me as an example of a business.
We can think of something in the agri space. Let me see. Does anyone have suggestions? Okay.
Let me see.
How about let's say logistics? I think that's one of the impacts COVID-19 had, in Nigeria, when people started to make sales online.
Yeah.
It helped the delivery business to boom. So we have lots of small scale delivery businesses almost everywhere in Nigeria right now.
That's so true. That's so true. So let's use the logistics space.
Yes.
Now, within the logistics space, okay, let me even use what's his name? What's the name of these Lagos people? Was it Gokada that the Lagos State
Gokada?
Yeah.
Okay, you mean Gokada? Okay.
That the Lagos State government banned and gave
Yes.
them, and they decided to move into logistics. Let me use that example as a small
Yes.
example. Now, as a business person, I'll use their business model and explain what I'm trying to say as a business canvas model. As a business person, they realized that within the Lagos State, there was a problem, right? The problem is Lagos is congested. And you cannot say that you want to be another Uber in Lagos when you can create your own niche and not decide to fight with Uber, right?
Yes.
They decide to have, they also thought, okay, what other means of, or what other alternative is there for transportation, because they want to be in the transport system. What other means for transportation do they have? They talk of bikes. They are bikes, but they are no organized bikes, right? They are no organized bike, and many people would pay premium price for bikes in Lagos State. To go anywhere, because it's faster. But the thing they're afraid of is the bike people. The problem is that they are not organized. They can be very crazy. They are not, careful and all those things. And they decided to create Gokada. And they registered it and edited everything, and they were making their money. That was a niche that they came, and within 1 second, from how many bikes, it became lots of bikes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they own one bike. They just gathered people that own bike and put them into a community and created an app for it. And people book, and everybody I know, many people are like, even if it's late in the night, they're always thinking of Gokada, no matter how far it is. Sometimes it scares me that you want to go so far, but you don't care because it's Gokada and there's safety. And within a space of 1 year, they made a revenue of nothing like tomorrow, right? And then the Lagos government decided to come and say, boom, people are making too much money, but for whatever reason, and they made a law. Imagine they are the normal, typical Nigerian entrepreneur that will start complaining. They got government this, government that, government this, and all of this, they went out of business. That's how normal Nigerians normal entrepreneurs or basic entrepreneurs would think. But entrepreneurs usually forget that there is, in every country, there are things you need to look out for. There's policy change, government change, currency change. There's so many risks that you need to foresee, or you need to think quick on your feet to do. And Gokada decided that they have so many, they still have their bikes, right? They still have their, what's it called? They're out of business. What's the next thing? Delivery. And rather than fighting the government, which they know that they cannot win, they thought of the next thing. Go into delivery and make your niche in that market. And then they're into delivery. And because people have seen them as trusted people or trusted company before, it is easy for them to now say that they want to fight with the likes of DHL. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Within Lagos State. And who knows they can expand. So what I'm trying to say is, for an entrepreneur in the business space, you always need to think ahead. You always need to know what's the trending thing. COVID-19 came, your business is there. What are you supposed to do? Think on your feet. Nobody expected COVID-19 should have come. The online market space went like no tomorrow. People that lost their job turned into YouTubers and they were making money. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? You cannot sit down and if it's for you to turn yourself into a fool doing comedy and you're making your money and cashing out in the bank, it's all about thinking on your feet. Always think about a solution within a problem. And that's basically having your business canvas model always updated all the time. And another thing that many businesses, if not just businesses, business, development space, NGOs, everything, they always assume they know the customer. They always assume they know what people want. Because you think you know what people want is not what people want. You need to go and ask your customer, what do you want? You always need to ask your customer, what do you want? If you have a business and you've not done your survey, and I don't mean online survey with questionnaire that people will tap, no. I mean a survey that you go and meet people randomly on the street and don't ask them directly that would you want a restaurant in this place that sells Chinese food? No. Ask them in such a way that it's an indirect question for you to have a direct answer. But without them knowing that you're asking them about this business. And that's how you know how much people pay for your service. If your service is needed and if it will grow, how it will grow. It's all about you asking the customer. And that's another thing I know that many Nigerian entrepreneurs miss, is not knowing their customers and not talking to their customers and always assuming they know the solution to a problem that they think they know.
Well, thank you so much. So the key takeaway there is, if you're trying to go into the business space, you need to be innovative, and most especially, you need to be able to pivot and, try something else. You shouldn't just stand, in one place when there are certain changes. You need to be able to look ahead, and lastly, carry out a good market analysis, reach out to your clients and know what they really want, and not that you're assuming that this is what they want, that this is, once I do it, they are going to love it. So thank you so much for that. Last question before we go. There are some of us who have a flair for business. Can you just give us some professional advice, most especially those who want to build a startup?
There's one thing I would say: not everyone is called out for business. Not everyone is called out to be a CEO or a co-founder.
Yeah.
Not everyone. You may have the greatest idea. You may have, let me put it like this. Not everyone is called out to be a CEO or a lone CEO. I can do it all. You may have the greatest idea. But sorry, the message that just came, can we do it before immediately we're running off so that my voice don't miscut? not everyone is called out to be a CEO. You may have the brilliant idea, but you may not be the best person to be what's it called, to run a business.
Yes.
And also, being an entrepreneur does not mean you have to own a business. I don't own any single business, but I run businesses, right? Many of my friends will say, you have all the knowledge, you have all the ideas, you have all the businesses in mind. Why don't you start up your own business? And I keep saying that I prefer helping other people grow than starting something, except I find a co-founder. And that's the next thing I'll say. If you want to start a business, it's two things you need to look out for. Can you do it alone? No. Sincerely, no. And I think the best thing is to look for a partner, a co-founder who is unique in another thing. And reason being that you have somebody that will push you to, what's it called, move ahead. And your co-founder can be somebody, it has to be somebody that is unique in a particular thing, right? So for example, you're opening a tech, you have an idea for a tech business, but you know about the business, but don't know how to code or don't know the technology aspect. You can have a co-founder who is a techie person and all those things. Yeah. Another thing is running businesses. Another thing is, if you want to start a business, don't quit every other thing you have, except the business has reached a particular point, right? It means that if you don't already own a business, you want to start a business, keep your current job and start that business, test the water and test it small. I am still working. If tomorrow I want to own my own business, I will not quit my job immediately. I'll start that business at the side or the NGO at the side or anything, but let something be entering into your pocket so that as you're testing your water and you're losing, you're still having something to go back to fall into, right? That's for starting businesses. Also, the third thing I would say is not every idea is great or feasible. Not every idea would be successful. So what you need to do is run your idea and see what other people are doing, not just in Nigeria, but in other countries that you think you can adapt to your idea, right? Because that's the only thing that will really work, right? That's one thing I'll say for starting a business and if you want to become an entrepreneur. And I think one more thing I'll add is be ready to fail. Like, don't think you'll make it. Like, don't think you'll make it. Be ready to fail. Most businesses fail. Most persons fail like 20, 30 times. But for every failure, there's something you always learn. There's always a lesson. And don't take that lesson for granted. Be ready to fail. Businesses lose millions. You will just not know. You will not know. You start a business, you start a farm, and all of a sudden, one insect from nowhere just came and, something happens. You have to have that thick, I don't know how to put it, like you have to have that, what word will I use? That thick skin to withstand anything so that you don't go into depression.
A high threshold for pain.
And that's the reason why I also say don't quit your job. If you quit your job and you say you want to help, you save 1 million naira, 2 million, 3 million naira, you want to start a business. If you fail, you say like, so you have to have that thick skin that not every time that things will run the same. But also always believe that the Nigerian market space is huge. It is huge. It is untapped. You will make your money, but you will not always make it immediately. It could be after a month, it could be after years, it could be after you losing millions of naira. And finally, I would say look for opportunities. There are so many incubation hubs. There are so many what's it called? grants. There are so many things that will help you to test the water, and make your connection, make a network. Look for somebody that has business acumen that you can, pass your idea through. I know many people are afraid that people will steal your idea, but sometimes what would I put it? Nigeria is so big that even if somebody steals your idea, even within that same community, within Abuja, within Maitama, somebody steal your idea. The market is too big for both of you to, to quarrel too much about. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I won't know if they steal your idea, they start and fail, you learn from them. What I'm just trying to say is always pass your idea to somebody, because two heads, they say, are better than one.
Well, thank you so much, Samirah. You've really touched on a lot of things concerning starting a business and trying to develop yourself. So we're going to leave room for questions. I've been the one asking all the questions, and I believe maybe one or two persons have something to say. So the floor is. Have any question for Samirah, you can raise your hand and ask your question. Even if it's a contribution, suggestions, they are all welcome. Okay, Joy Abraham, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much. I have been listening in, and it's been a beautiful one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Stanley. Thank you. And Samirah, you've done so much justice to a lot of things. Okay, I have been into humanitarian work and then social leadership development for years, through in the north. I think I was with the RLC in 2017, the online one. Okay. So, okay, I started off in the environmental field. I love nature and all of that, the environment. But deep down, it has always been education for me. For a country like Nigeria, I believe that if people eventually know, there will be no need for so much talk and so much this and that. The educational sphere, so is it for me? So I had to switch. That's what I'm trying to say. Now the point is, Samirah said something about, first of all, volunteering with that place where you're passionate about. Okay, and now I'm passionate about the environment. I'm also passionate about education. Now I'm in education. It's like I'm starting afresh. In fact, I had to pull down my social media handles, like start afresh, because I wanted to also now pull along my educational passion. And now here it's, so my question is, how can somebody that is trying to build on their new passion, drag along their new passion, how can they start afresh?
Transition, okay.
Yeah, and secondly, finally, I'm serving the country. I've decided to serve the country this year before time passes, and I'll be out October. I happen to serve in the West, and the area needs a lot of educational help. Okay, so since Samirah has experience from the her project and award from the Lagos State, I really would love her advice. If she can't do it here, maybe later on. But I really want direction on how to go about it, because they need literary spaces and all of that. Thank you.
Okay. So
thank you for that question.
Samirah,
sorry, let me answer it. Let me answer one because I will forget. Before I answer your question, in the education space, what part of the education space are you in?
The part of the educational space is the redefining of the essence, educational essence. That's educational confidence, especially educational confidence, or the understanding of education. For the peri-urban, mostly is the peri-urban I deal with.
No, I mean like secondary, university, tertiary, what set of people?
Teenagers, secondary, yeah, secondary.
Do you own your own, or you work with a school?
I've always worked with schools.
So you're not a teacher. You work with schools
No,
to develop educational
yes,
essence.
yes. And sometimes I just adopt communities. Like during the COVID-19, I had to go adopt a peri-urban area that didn't have access to online education. And I realized that it wasn't even about teaching them this and that in educational subjects and all of that. They needed to know why they should make themselves, why they should enjoy learning. Yeah, that's it. So we
Okay.
had to now go through educational therapy. I don't know.
I get
Yeah,
what you're
that's
saying.
it.
Firstly, I'm going to say something before I answer your question. You moved from environment to education. You switched.
Yes.
Although you've done it and you've dropped your handles, but I'm going to give this as a general advice to everybody. There's always a pyramid for a business. I forgot to say this. A business core value, I'm going to use it as a business, but no, let me not use the word business, an organization. You will always realize that you will find organizations who have core value as, let's say, education. I'll use you as this education as an example. And under education, there's always branches. But those branches usually are linked back to the core value of that organization, which is education. Now, you say you love environment, but you're passionate about education. Your core value can be education. And under your core value could be environment. Environment can fall so much into education because you're not in the education. That's why I asked you what kind of education. You're not a teacher. You're not in the education space as a teacher or a school owner, but you're in the education space to educate, to encourage. And then when you have your environment under your education space, is also educating people about the environment, being advocates about the environment, but you're still under education, right? I wish you did not drop everything about your environment and just put it as a branch under your education and have your core organization or core personal brand as education. But under the brand, you have environment and you can choose one other thing about it. So it could be environment and you said educational confidence or essence, right? So those will be your two core what's it called, branches under your education as a pyramid. And then you could, usually it's good to have just three to concentrate to, have a, what's it called, an angle. But that's one thing I'll say about that. I wish you didn't do that, or maybe you can still put them back up. But that's one thing. Now going back to your second question, which your main question, which is the education confidence and teenagers or quick teenagers, and he asked that you're very passionate about education in the Southwest and you're about to finish your NYC. I forgot to mention this, but part of networking is collaboration. And collaboration is key. Reason being that for whatever you're doing, especially if you're doing it alone, there's an organization doing it, and there's an organization that would that needs one thing or the other from you, right? You want to stay back in the Southwest to give that your core value, which you're already doing. I would so much advise that you research since you're an individual, you don't yet already have your own this thing. I would so much advise that you research about what word will I use? Research about organizations doing anything around education within the Southwest that you're interested in. It could be, I don't know if, it could be Teach for Nigeria. What's the name of those organizations? It could be it could be any organization. But what you're selling to them is that in this environment, either they are there or not there, you could be a branch or a representative of them in that environment. You get what I'm trying to say? So for example, if you're still based, if you're doing your NYC in, let's say, within Ogun State, you're doing your NYC, let's say let me form a name within Ogun State. Let me say, I don't know what name to call it, Ibrahim Street. or a bride community, and you have an organization within Ogun State or environment that is so much about, let's say, Teach for Nigeria, it's so much about, education, whatever, in that environment, but they are not in that your community yet, right?
Yeah.
You could talk to them and sell your idea to them and say, you are in this environment, you see this problem. They don't need so much to, say they're looking for somebody to be there, but you can be like, yeah, like, is it ambassador or representative or a staff there? But these are the core values you want to do so that you can use their network, even their finance, if they want to give, their network, their finance or whatever, to have a name in that environment and still do what you want to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is you need to find organizations that you collaborate with as an individual, since you already have so much knowledge about that and you're so passionate about that. And trust me, we find. You need to volunteer for them, you will find, and you create that niche for yourself. And by the time of your NYC, once you're done, and I think you need to start doing that down. And if you're done with your NYC and those organizations are not ready to move, you can move to them. It's all about, it doesn't matter where you're creating the value or where you're creating the change. It's mainly, are you creating the change? I hope I answered your question. And you can still chat to me later, and if you have any more questions.
Please, I'll do that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Joy. Thank you, Samirah. Samirah, you would drop your social media handles so people can follow your LinkedIn, your Facebook, and
I've dropped it.
yes, and Twitter, so people can reach you and ask more questions. But we have two more hands raised. So Sam, I hope I pronounced the name correctly. So in few minutes, just ask your question.
Okay, mine is not a question as such, but just a contribution to say, if you more like collaborate, network with several other local organizations, then you put it on your social media handles, you'll actually reach more in terms of your audiences than for you to just have your project locally. It's not on social media. You are not also collaborating. That means issues to do with the environment, education, and others, they actually interlink. So let us take this moment of the COVID-19 to say more people are now based on the internet. So it's actually an opportunity for us to grow our business. And I happen to be a business mentor under Tony Elumelu Foundation, which is a Nigerian organization. It's also another aspect that we might also want to pursue. I am an IVLP fellow from Zimbabwe. I went there 2014, as well as I did Community Solutions Program. Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you, Senwayo. Your contribution is very much appreciated. Lastly, we have Ambassador Umaru Galadima.
Hello, Stanley.
Hi.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Or good
Afternoon.
evening. Yeah. Happy to see you once again, Samirah. You went under the radar. Thank God for Yali have brought you back now. We're happy to see you once again. Hope you are doing well.
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So mine, I overheard you when I joined. Sorry, I joined lately, but I overheard you talking about security of idea. Many young people are afraid that their ideas are going to be stolen. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to shed more light in a few seconds. I think one thing I realized with young people idea and innovation, more especially undergoing incubation, is that we don't leverage on publication. So most times when you see your idea being stolen, is that you've been hiding it. And out of fear of saying maybe somebody would try to either correct you or like try to work with you, and you want to achieve everything all alone. So you decide not to publish it. But one thing that you will do to save your idea and to secure it is publication. There is a wise saying in education: you either publish or you perish. So you have to make that choice. It's a bold step. And part of where you can publish your ideas are journals, articles, academic articles, where your ideas will be sustained, except if you are not sure of what you are doing. And then again, these days we have reliable social media outlets like alumni association, university alumni groups. These are places where you can publish your ideas and just tell people what you are doing and the level you are and where you need collaboration and what you are up doing so that people can come and work with you. I'm very sure your ideas will be secured, and that will equally inculcate to tell people that your ideas are genuine. I think if you can do this as a young person, your ideas are going to be safe and secure in good hand. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Umaru. And I guess that's it for today's event. So, Samirah, do you have any final notes for us?
Okay, so trying to on my video. So that
Yes, please do.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So can you hear me now? Oh, the network
Yes,
is
we
better.
can.
So
Yeah.
my rain is falling, so I'm very sure maybe that was affecting what's it called, the network in here. So my final say. What will be my final say? Let me see. Let me think various that I see something that is crucial. My
Yes,
final say
please.
would be okay. My final say would be there are so we are all yearly what's it called? What's the word I'm going to use? We are all yearly applicants. Sorry, yearly fellows.
Yes.
And for you to be a yearly fellow, you already understand that there are so many opportunities in this. There are so many opportunities, right? But one thing is you need to set yourself down to really know what opportunity you want, right? You have this fellowship, you have that fellowship. Sometimes I'll see someone's profile and the person has 4 masters, a fellow of this, a fellow of that, a recipient of this, a recipient of that. And I'm like, are you the only one? What word is it? I've forgotten the word. But it's is it uniqueness? Not unique. Master. You have to be master of one, right? It means it's not
Yes.
every opportunity you go for, and it's not every opportunity you accept. Because you need to have your niche somewhere. Like you need to be specific about everything you want to go about. You need to be strategic about everything you want to go about. Because something is free and in the US or in the UK, does not mean you need to be there.
Take it. Yeah.
It does not mean you need to be there. Is it useful for you? At that moment, in the future, is it useful for you? Is it something that you need? You don't, so even for shielding application or, many scholarships, I see that because some scholarships have, for example, or some applications have people that they are targeting, or some grants have people that they are targeting. And because you want it, you decide to, shift where your focus is and just, you see people lie, you get shift their focus just to get that and say they have this or they've gone here. No, it is very key as a young leader who wants to be master in a particular space for you to be very specific about the opportunities you go for. That is really key. I don't apply for many things. I'm very strategic like that. I don't apply for many things, not because I will not get them, because I feel even if I would get them, it would be useless and I'll be taking somebody else's spot, right? That will actually need it. So you need to be very strategic about the opportunities and the things you go for. And how do you do that? What is your goal for the future? That's very simple. And then how do you get there and you follow it? Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who joined. Thank you, Samirah. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all you shared, the insights, the knowledge, and all. Thank you. And that's it for this week's event. So we'll be creating the breakout rooms so you can join and network with other participants.